So earlier today, some documents were released that were text messages from the two supposed victims. And if you look over those text messages, you could see how not only did they plot to frame the Tate brothers, they rehearsed.
Now, before we get to why everything he's about to say in that video is utter bullshit, let's give some backstory. So you know that Andrew Tate, his brother, and 2 other people were arrested in Romania on human trafficking charges a few months ago. And I recently made a video in which I poke fun at the fact that one of the leading red pillars in Andrew Tate is being investigated in Romania on sex trafficking charges, and the other one, in Sneeko, or his offspring, has watched their girl get railed in front of him. But nevertheless, that video got some people triggered. Some people who assume there's been no solid evidence found in the case of Andrew Tate. Some people who assume that this was a setup. And again, some people who assume I haven't done research or that this was somehow a setup on Andrew Tate. And while yes, a lot of this is just delusion, a lot of it is also people who have ironically bought into propaganda despite accusing me of spreading it. So let's go over the evidence and research, shall we?
Frame the Tate brothers. They rehearsed it, going over what to say, how to look, how to cry, and how to play dumb.
Before we can continue, and I can show you the full extent to how malicious this person's being, I need to show you the full context here in order for you to truly grasp what's going on. So let's take a look at the full messages. The messages that have bear next to them are being sent from an American girl named Emma. The messages that are being sent from the black bar are from her parents, either her mom, her dad, or both. Emma begins by saying, "I'm leaving to London in a couple of days. Tristan and his brother are terrible people." Emma continues, "I'm bringing a girl that's been stuck here with me. We'll meet her later. Maybe I came here for a reason. I'm cutting my losses and we're making a plan to leave. These guys are actually evil." To which her parents respond, "Be very, very careful. Talk to the American embassy if you can." Because Emma is a 21-year-old American girl. Continuing, Emma's plan was to set up flights for her and the girl she's trying to escape with at 6 a.m., fly to London, and then she's gonna stay with her friend for a while. Emma also adds, "He moved me into a house with 4 other girls, he being Tristan or Andrew. 3 of the 4 girls have been here for 1 to 5 years and they are groomers. They normalize taking your clothes off and sending them pictures all together." She also adds the very interesting detail that will be important later. Tristan's brother is dating blank from blank. She has broken up with him. He texted her telling her if she loves him, she will cut an A into her wrist. His name is Andrew. She also goes on to say they are definitely trafficking women. Her parents say, "I told you, now try to get out of there quietly," and she responds, "Yes, I'm going to get this girl out with me. Her name is Aliona," who is the girl that was mentioned earlier. Moving along, Emma continues to tell her parents about their plan to escape. Emma says these girls are brainwashed. They don't do anything except stay at the house, and if they leave, everyone has to know. There are handlers too. Her parents continue to be worried, and basically their entire philosophy is don't help the other girl escape, just get out of there. You're already at enough risk, and we don't know what these guys are capable of. Which is also why they mentioned calling the embassy earlier. This will be important later. And here's one of the first big quotes that they harp on. Her parents ask, "Well, that's really assuring. Tell me what's really going on." And Emma responds, "I've told you what's going on. I'm remaining as calm as possible." But she also says, "I don't also have a big belief that they'll stop us from going because we've made the brothers believe that we are in love. They think we will run back. My main concerns are coming from some things that the girls are saying." She says, "Look, I know you don't believe I can handle this, but I can. I'm not so concerned. Tristan doesn't really care if I leave. It's more the girl I'm with. And I also want to go to London to see one of the girls and to gather evidence." The fact that you guys harbor on this point exactly to try to say, look, this is some evidence that it was a setup, is fucking crazy to me. In fact, let's see how he interprets it.
And they admitted that they weren't actually kidnapped, that the Tate brothers said that they could leave whenever they wanted. So it seems that while the mainstream media and the police are saying that the Tate brothers used the lover boy method, actually what happened was these girls acted as if they were in love with the Tate brothers so that they could secretly milk it and get as much money and influence and have people talking about them as they could.
Both things he just said there are patently false lies. Emma doesn't admit that they weren't actually kidnapped when she quite clearly says they are definitely trafficking women. She keeps harping on her plan to escape, but she's concerned that the other girls might tell them, so they're gonna leave while they're sleeping. And she's under the impression that Tristan won't really care if she leaves because A, she believes that they're gonna think they're just gonna come back, and B, because like she says, we've made the brothers think that we're in love. This doesn't mean that the girls set them up and framed them because, according to the court documents, the American girl meets Tristan through the lover boy method on Tristan's behalf. As according to Emma, Tristan presented himself as exactly what she wanted in a lover. Apparently the two spent a week together in Miami and then the idea of moving to Romania started coming up. She apparently was told that she couldn't leave and if she managed to, he would ensure that she returned. And when she asked armed guards if she could leave, they said that they didn't speak English. Emma even apparently said that she really wants to see Romania and she wants Tristan to be the one to show it to her, but she does not want to show her body on OnlyFans, which could have been one of the things that ultimately leads to her escape. But what it looks like when further context context is provided is that Tristan is the one who convinced her to fall in love, and then she used that to play into it in order to plan her escape nonchalantly later on. Because if she all of a sudden starts acting cold and distant when she's really about to escape, then red flags would go off. She also seems to be trying to reassure her parents that she has everything under control and that she can escape nonchalantly. She tries to calm her parents' fears by saying that she feels sort of okay trying to leave because she thinks that Tate might not care if they leave. She doesn't say, yeah, I can just walk right out of here. They let us go whenever we please. And if that was the case, why is she being so careful about it? Back to these messages, and this is very important. She says very crucially, I just know how important it is for you to know what situation I've gotten myself into now. I really just wanted to travel, have a new love, have fun, make good money, playing music, and see more of the world. This is really important when the embassy point comes up later. We move on to the part where her mom calls the embassy, and she keeps saying, oh, I don't think anything is gonna happen to me, but I'll go to the embassy later and get it expedited. Her parents make the point, so how do you plan on getting to the embassy's help if you didn't contact them upon your arrival? You missed that. She says if she feels her escape plan won't work, then preemptively she'll make the call, but right now she just wants to go to London. Her mom then calls the embassy anyway, and she gets angry. The reason why she's angry is not
Their performance was so good that even their own parents called the US Embassy and were freaking out. And the girls got upset with their parents because they almost messed up the show.
it's because she's an American citizen, if they call the embassy, they're gonna get her expedited back to the US to get her safe, which ruins her plan to go to London and continue her vacation like she wanted to from the beginning. Which is why she keeps telling her mom, I want to leave to London. Tell them to come on Tuesday when we leave. She says they can see everything. Look, if you stop me from going to London, expect me to disappear. Her parents called the embassy because they thought that's the best process to get her out of there, and she didn't want them to do that because then a whole investigation is going to take place and she can't continue her vacation because she'll be shipped back to America. After getting angry and cussing them out, she comes down on the side of understanding what they did. She reassures them that it's actually her talking, and I think this is the end of the conversation with her and her parents. So we see the claim about the embassy was a patent lie. We see the claim about the freedom of movement shit where they could leave at any time is a patent lie. Let's continue. We now move on to a conversation between Emma and Aliona, which is the girl that apparently Andrew was dating. That was mentioned beforehand when she was like, oh, carve an A into your wrist. Now let's go over the full context, and keep in the back of your mind that according to the person who made this video, who literally fucking just admits to being Andrew Tate's friend.
I mean, obviously I am biased because he's a good friend of mine, but
Maybe that's why he looks and talks exactly like the guy. This is essentially a conversation in which they're admitting that they framed them. Emma says, I can't wait to see you in all the movies. Aliona says, but like now you got here and I think it's crazy. I feel like you're literally a send from God. Then Emma says, I'm happy we met. I'll protect you and make sure we get out of here safely. I promise. Which is kind of weird for people who are admitting to framing somebody, but let's continue. Emma again reiterates they believe that we're coming back, or at least that we'll try to come back, or that we are obsessed with them. And Aliona goes on to say something very interesting. Yeah, I told you to be like saying a nice message and that we are hurt or shit, like that we do love them, but we just don't like the situation, so they will not think we are really against them, you know? Emma says, yeah, that's smart, and Aliona says, play the victim. I mean, we are, but yeah, act like we still love them and stuff. Emma then says, oh my god, I realized within the past 12 hours, we realized this is trafficking. We lived in the mentality of trafficked women, believed we had the US Embassy and Marines and the FBI about to break in this house, took selfies with bread, had a few panic attacks, and now we're sitting here smiling, acting normal. And then Aliona says, oh yeah, we need an Oscar, da-da-da. And she says, let's just play it cool. And I need to change my name so it doesn't start with an A, which lends credence to the carve an A in your wrist shit. Did y'all just not read that quote or something? So she's now said that she's being trafficked in both the conversation with Aliona and her parents. And when they mention the awards, they're talking about the way they're able to continue buying into the whole, yeah, we're in love story in order to cover for their ass when they try to escape, and not make their impending escape look suspicious. I mean, you go on to say that
for 10 months, the police have tried to bury the CCTV footage that proves the Tate brothers' innocence.
But when we look at CCTV footage, we see what appears to be a security station and a guard monitoring a woman getting dominoes. We then see another guard, or the same one, appearing to direct this woman when she's looking for something, not letting her out of her eyesight, and not leaving the porch. We have reports that they weren't able to leave anywhere without a trusted employee or a guard. We have the fact that 2 other women were arrested with Andrew and Tristan as suspected collaborators that helped them run things. And when we take a look at the footage, we never seem to see any of these women traveling anywhere unless they're accompanied by more than one person. From the quality and color of the footage, it's hard to tell who's who or if any of these women are collaborators. But isn't it funny that we never see them leave anywhere by them damn selves? We also have reports from Emma that there were other women whose responsibility it was to groom these women and normalize them to taking their clothes off, which would further corroborate the story that either some women are watching over them or they're under the watchful eye of a security guard. But if we're just gonna lie our asses off with clipped out of context evidence from the Tate camp, that's fine too. If we're just gonna believe his friends putting out high production videos with clipped out of context shitty ass evidence, then that's cool. If we're just gonna tell me to do research on a topic and then send me to a video made by Andrew Tate's friend using shitty clipped out of context evidence, then that's cool. And if we're gonna tell me that I'm just spreading propaganda whilst you simultaneously buy buy into the clipped out of context shitty ass evidence that's released as propaganda, that's also cool too. But at least be honest and say that you guys are coping because your Lord and Savior happen to may or may not be guilty of certain crimes that are going on right now that are pretty heinous. So yet again I ask, how the fuck did y'all let this happen?